Have you ever felt like you're working harder than everyone around you, but somehow you're still falling behind? Maybe you're the first one in the office and the last one to leave, but your results don't match your effort. Maybe you work 12-hour days while your colleague works 6 hours and gets promoted instead of you. Or maybe you're exhausted, burnt out, barely sleeping, yet you watch others succeed with what looks like half your struggle. If you've ever wondered why hard work isn't enough, if you're tired of being tired with nothing to show for it, then this story will change how you work forever. Because once there was a farmer named Daniel who almost destroyed his life by working too hard, until one encounter taught him the difference between effort and strategy. Stay with me until the end to review everything clearly. Long ago, there lived a farmer named Daniel. At 4 a.m., before the sun touched the horizon, Daniel was already in his fields. He worked with his bare hands, refusing to spend money on modern tools. "My grandfather did it this way," he would say. "Hard work is the only honest way." He planted every seed by hand. He watered every row with a bucket. He pulled every weed himself. From sunrise to sunset, Daniel worked without rest. His hands became rough and bleeding. His back ached constantly, yet he wore his exhaustion like a badge of honor. At night, he collapsed into bed, too tired to eat properly, too tired to spend time with his wife, Grace. She would look at him with worried eyes and say, "Daniel, you're killing yourself. There has to be a better way." "Grace, success requires sacrifice. Hard work never fails. I just need to work harder." The neighboring farmers watched Daniel with a mixture of admiration and pity. "That man works like 3 men," they would say. "If hard work alone could make someone rich, Daniel would be a millionaire." Despite working twice as many hours as his neighbors, Daniel's farm produced barely enough to survive. Every harvest was a struggle. Every season brought him closer to debt. His crops were average, his yield was mediocre, and worst of all, he had no time, no energy, and no life outside of work. Next to Daniel's farm lived a man named Michael. Michael was the same age, had the same size farm, and even started with less money than Daniel. But something was different. Michael worked from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., just 6 hours a day. He used modern irrigation systems, hired part-time help during harvest, and spent his evenings reading, relaxing, and traveling with his family. And somehow, Michael's farm produced twice what Daniel's did. This fact haunted Daniel every single night. One brutal summer, a drought hit the valley. Water became scarce. Every farmer faced the same challenge: how to keep crops alive with limited resources. Daniel decided to work even harder. He woke up at 3 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. He carried water buckets from a distant well, making 50 trips a day. His body screamed in protest, but he pushed through. "Hard work never fails," he repeated to himself like a prayer. Meanwhile, Michael simply adjusted his irrigation system to deliver water more efficiently during cooler hours, losing minimal moisture to evaporation. On the 15th day of this grueling routine, something inside Daniel broke. He was carrying his 40th bucket of water when his vision blurred. His legs gave out. The bucket slipped from his hands, spilling precious water into the dust. Daniel fell to his knees, gasping for air, his heart pounding irregularly. Grace found him there, collapsed between rows of dying crops, too exhausted to even stand. The doctor's words were clear. "Mr. Daniel, your body is shutting down. You're dehydrated, sleep-deprived, and on the edge of a heart attack. If you continue like this, you won't see the next harvest, not because of the drought, because you'll be dead." That night, lying in bed with IV fluids dripping into his arm, Daniel stared at the ceiling and felt something he had never felt before. Defeat. Not defeat from the drought, not defeat from the circumstances, but defeat from the realization that his entire belief system, the very foundation of his life, might be wrong. He whispered to Grace, "I did everything right. I worked harder than anyone. I sacrificed everything. Why am I failing?" Grace held his hand gently and said, "Maybe, my love, hard work isn't the answer. Maybe there's something you haven't learned yet. 3 days later, when Daniel was strong enough to walk, he did something he had been too proud to do for years. He knocked on Michael's door. Michael opened it with a surprised smile. "Daniel, I heard about your collapse. Come in, please." They sat on Michael's porch, overlooking his thriving farm. Daniel looked at the healthy crops, twice the density of his own struggling fields, and felt a mix of envy and curiosity. "Michael," Daniel began, his voice humble for the first time, "I need to understand. I work twice your hours. I pour everything I have into my farm. But you work half the time and produce double the results. How?" Michael was quiet for a moment, then stood up. "Come, let me show you something." They walked to Michael's tool shed. Michael picked up 2 axes, one old and dull, one sharp and gleaming. Daniel imagined 2 woodcutters competing to chop down trees. Michael held up the sharp axe and said, "The difference is not strength, it is preparation." He looked at Daniel and continued, "You keep swinging a dull axe, believing that more effort will fix everything. But effort without thinking only makes you tired." Michael walked Daniel around his farm and began to explain. "I don't work less because I'm lazy," he said. "I work less because I plan better." He showed Daniel his irrigation system. "Instead of carrying water all day, I built a system that waters my crops while I rest. One decision saved me many hours. I grow only what does well in this soil. You grow many things and struggle with all of them. Focus brings results." Finally, Michael said something Daniel had never considered before. "Rest is not a weakness. A tired man makes bad decisions. A rested man sees solutions." Daniel stood quietly. For the first time in years, he understood something painful but true. He had been busy, but not effective. That night, Daniel went home and talked with Grace. The next morning, he did something different. He worked for a few hours, then stopped. Instead of pushing his body, he used his mind. He asked questions. He learned. He planned. Slowly, Daniel changed the way he worked. He installed a simple watering system. He reduced the number of crops he grew. He asked for help when he needed it. And he allowed himself to rest. Weeks passed, then months. Daniel was no longer exhausted. He ate well. He slept well. He laughed again with Grace. And something surprising happened. His farm began to improve, not because he worked harder, but because every hour now had purpose. At the next harvest, Daniel produced more than he ever had before. And for the first time, he did it without destroying himself. Michael visited one evening and smiled. "You've learned," he said. "I finally sharpened my axe." This story is not just about farming. It is about life. Hard work matters, but hard work alone is not enough. Strategy turns effort into results. Rest protects your mind. Focus creates growth. So before you work harder, ask yourself, is there a smarter way? Because success is not about how much pain you can endure. It is about how wisely you use your effort. And remember this, don't keep swinging a dull axe. Sharpen it.